All right, you guys remember the mystery fog? Everybody was talking about this. It went viral on social media. Even the mainstream media picked up on this. Well, have you ever heard of something called super fog? And if you're like me, I've never heard of such a thing. But I'm going to show you a report today that's indicating that everyone that's in New Orleans going to the Super Bowl, that this could be a threat to them. They could be at danger of super fog. And I don't know if maybe this is just how my mind works, but it made me go back and start thinking about this mysterious fog that people was reporting, and a lot of people was saying that consequently, when they experienced this fog in their state, in their city, and wherever they were at, that consequently after that they came down with some type of a flu-like virus or a sickness or upper respiratory. Well, I'm going to show you some things today that could we see a connection with all of this, and what does this even mean? And this is we're just going to present some stuff today, and we're going to let you come to your conclusion. So buckle up. We got a lot to talk about today. Let's go.
The following program is brought to you by friends and partners of End Time Headlines.
All right, guys, we want to welcome you to the program. It's Sunday, February 9th. We want to welcome you. It's End Time Headlines here, news and headlines from a prophetic perspective. Listen, before we get started on today's program, I need you to do me a favor. Help us out. Let's partner together today. Let's help each other out. If you'll help me out by getting us out on these algorithms, then I'm going to be a blessing to you as well. So all you got to do is hit that like button. Whatever platform you're watching from, listening from, just hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification. When you hit that like button, it's going to push this out. When you hit that subscribe button and that bell notification, it's going to benefit you because you're going to be notified every time we go live or we put a new program out there, or whatever the case may be here on whatever platform you may be listening from. And then I'm going to be a blessing to you, and I want you to download our free app. It's free to you, and this is going to take it a step further. That way you don't have to rely on social media outlets, because a lot of times, even though you subscribe to YouTube or subscribe to us on Facebook, whatever the case, I can't tell you how many times, countless times, people say, well, I never got a notification when you were live. I never got a notification of a new video or a new content. So we want you to download the app today. Pick it up on Apple, pick it up on Android, whatever your device is, and just hit yes to push notifications. And then right there in your fingertips, you're going to get notified of every time we put out new content, whether that be a prophecy viewpoint, whether it be breaking news, whether it be a typical podcast, a headline, whatever the case may be, you're going to get all of it right there on your app. So I want to refresh your memory. I want to refresh your memory, excuse me, guys. And I want to take you to, let's go over here to this article. This is from the Daily Mail. And again, this was published back in, you can see the date here on January 6th. Okay, this was trending all over the place. Americans say that, quote, mysterious fog with chemical smell is making them just sick minutes after exposure. And again, this went mainstream. This wasn't just some weird conspiracy theory on TikTok or Facebook or social media outlets. This made national headlines. Obviously, right here, we're talking about this. People across the United States reported a mysterious fog. And by the way, this is ongoing. It's not really stopped. With a, quote, chemical smell that they believe is making them sick within minutes of exposure. Now, others have come forward and said that it wasn't within minutes, but usually, within a 24, 72-hour timeline of their exposure to this quote-unquote mystery fog, they were getting these symptoms. Now, we do have a video.
All right, so it's crazy foggy right now. But that's not the weird part, okay? Like, number one, it's weird because as it gets later in the day, fog should lighten, dissipate, and it's really not. But the weirdest part is the taste and smell. It smells like after you set off a bunch of fireworks, and like the taste of the air is, I mean, the only word I can think of is toxic. It's super weird, and so I'm going for my.
It's like a sulfuric taste. If you've ever lit off fireworks, which most of you have, I know what he's talking about. That it's all through the night on July 4th, even into July 5th. That residue is still in the atmosphere. It's still in the air, and you can breathe that in. I mean, you can taste it in your mouth. It's like a sulfuric, that burning ash smell.
Walk, and it's kind of worrying me a little bit. Let me know if you guys are experiencing something like that. That's weird. Yeah, I mean, it smells not right. And I'm 41. I've been through fog. This is something different. Let me know if you guys are experiencing something like that.
And again, the reports of this was all across. Again, this was in late December. And it's still ongoing in parts of Texas, Wisconsin, Iowa, Maryland, Virginia, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, North Dakota, Florida, and Minnesota. Now, again, even though this is ongoing, you don't hear a lot about this because other events, guys have taken the front burner. I mean, again, this was back in December. This was before the Los Angeles fires. This was before the whole slew of airliners crashing, falling out of the sky, mechanical problems, all that stuff. It's like, you know, if something comes up, just wait about a week or two and something else will come and it'll take the front burner and everything else goes behind it. So it's not as if these things are stopped. It's kind of like the drones. The drone saga in New Jersey, New York, it's still ongoing. It's still continuing. It's not like it's let up. It's still happening. But there's a couple things going on here. Number one is people are becoming numb to it. It's happening so frequently. They're just like, oh, look, there's one of those drones. Yeah, whatever. You know, been there, done that. We've heard it. We've seen it. It's old news. Let's move on to something else. And that's what I think's going on here. But there's some interesting headlines that have come out recently in the past 24 hours that I want to kind of just pull into this conversation. And again, I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments, your feedback in the chat, and let us know, number one, have you seen, experienced, or firsthand, whatever the case may be, of this quote-unquote strange or mysterious fog in your area, your location? And number two, have you been sick? Like, if you can go back and do a timeline of this, did you experience some kind of upper respiratory illness or sickness or cold-like symptoms or whatever the case may be? Was it in conjunction with, from your memory, with being exposed to this fog or whatever the case, whatever this is? If it's synthetic, if it's manufactured, if it's something that's been released in the air, we don't know, guys. Again, we're interjecting something out here for conversation's sake. Now, I did. A friend of mine sent me some information, and I thought this was new, and I thought this was very interesting to pull into this conversation. I want you to. This is from Science Direct. Look at this headline: Fog caused distinct diversity of airborne bacterial communities enriched with pathogens over central Gangetic plain in India. Now, according to this, and again, this gets over my head big time. So I'm going to read parts of this, but I'm going to read all of this. Fog causes, quote, enhancement of bacterial loading in the atmosphere. According to a current study, it represents the impact of occurrences of fog on the alteration of diversity of airborne bacteria and their network computed from metagenomic data of airborne samples collected at Arthali, however you pronounce it, situated at Central Gangetic Plain. Again, a distinct bacterial diversity with a complex network is identified in foggy condition due to the enrichment of unique types of bacteria. Present investigation highlights a statistically a significant enrichment of airborne pathogenic bacteria that was found in a unique ecosystem within evolved due to the occurrences of fog over this location in India. Wow. So again, is there something to this? Could there be something in this fog that is undetected with the human eye that can only be picked up through, and again, this is going to go over my pay grade, and I don't even know how to articulate the language to describe this, but perhaps people who's in physics or something of that matter that can break down this, maybe do somehow analyze the fog and look at it under a microscope, look at it under some kind of a study and see if there is indeed any of these pathogens. Because I don't know of any news organization that has gone that far to actually study this. Okay? Now, let me stay on the fog for a minute, and then I'm going to show you a different element because we're pulling all this together today. Now, this just came out over the past 24 hours. Very intriguing headline, and I've got to show you this because I want your feedback on this. All right, look at this headline, Deadly Super Fog. What the heck is that? A super fog is threatening Super Bowl Sunday in New Orleans. What? Well, let's read a little bit of this. What they're calling a dangerous super fog could roll into New Orleans just in time for the Super Bowl. Isn't that convenient? By the way, President Trump will be in attendance. It is set to be held at the city's Caesars Superdome Stadium tonight, as of the recording of this. This weather phenomenon occurs when fog droplets mix with smoke particles. Interesting. Creating an exceptionally dense fog that causes visibility to drop near 0 feet. The looming super fog could result from warm temperatures, humid air, and smoke from a large marsh fire burning about 30 miles from the Big Easy. In other words, it's the perfect storm to produce a super fog event. Although the game will be held indoors, fans traveling to New Orleans to see the Kansas City Chiefs face off against Philadelphia Eagles could have a very difficult time getting there as driving conditions may turn deadly. While super fog is, quote, uncommon, it is not unheard of, especially in New Orleans. This city typically experiences 2 super fog events per year. In fact, in October of 2023, a bout of this dense fog caused a 160-car pileup on Interstate 55 that left 8 people dead and dozens injured. And back in December of last year, the city had a super fog event that caused a 40-car pileup, which hospitalized 33 people. We had somebody send us this. A mysterious fog caused one of Tennessee's deadliest crashes 33 years ago. On December 11th, 1990, now look what it's called here, mysterious fog. In 1990, an unusual weather event caused one of the deadliest crashes in Tennessee history when a dense fog fell near Calhoun, Tennessee. It was a 99-vehicle pileup, caused 12 deaths and 42 injuries. Now again, it began in southbound lane of Interstate 75 when an unusually dense fog fell rapidly, reducing visibility to almost nothing in a very short period of time. Now, according to the official highway accident report from the National Transportation Safety Board, the fog came from settling ponds and steam emitted from the Bowater paper mill nearby. The weather forecast of the day was sunny. The weather forecast of the day was sunny and mild with temperatures in the 60s and no evidence of fog on its way. Now, stop. Now, again, this is the consensus that you get from eyewitness testimonies of all of these people. And again, we're talking about people from Texas, Wisconsin, Iowa, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, North Dakota, Florida, and Minnesota that we know of. Now, the question is, are all of these fog incidences, these fog events, where again, they're reporting this mysterious fog that comes in the middle of the day. It doesn't dissipate as it gets later in the day like it should. It has a chemical smell, chemical taste, chemical residue. People reporting upper respiratory illnesses, sicknesses, viruses, flu-like symptoms, etc. Now, there will be people that will say, well, this is what it is. It's because of the perfect conditions. There's probably ponds nearby that's emitting steam, and then there's this and that. But again, when you hear the testimony of these people, guys, a lot of these residents has been there for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and they've never seen anything like this. Now, wouldn't you think, listen, I may not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I would think that if you've lived somewhere for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, then if these events are typical or they're cyclical, you would have at least seen something like this, and at least in the past 10 years or at last 15 years, but that's just not the case. Some of these places, there's no bodies of water, there's no ponds, no lakes, no tributaries that's flowing in there, and yet they're reporting this strange fall. Even in major cities, we're seeing this. Okay, so again, here's an incident where a mysterious fog, and again, they give you an official narrative. They're going to give you an official report. They have to. They're pressured to do that. And I'm not saying everything's got a conspiracy behind it, but I do think it's interesting. Now, again, this one took place back on December 11th, 1990. Now, look at this. Consequently, I want to pull this up. Now, this was, again, December 15th, 2015. Look at this headline. Heavy fog closes I-75 days after anniversary of deadly fog-related crash. So apparently, again, this was almost to the day of the anniversary of the last event that caused a lot of life that was lost and injury. Okay, so we do have these fog events. And listen, I lived in Tennessee. I lived in Tennessee for 3 years, and we experienced this when we would ride up through Chattanooga. We'd go up to the mountains of Chattanooga, or we'd go to Athens, or we went to the Ocoee. When it went out in that area, we would see fog like that, but it was typically in the early mornings. But then about lunchtime, 12, 1, 2, all this stuff would dissipate. But again, that's just not the case let's go back to this recent event, this mysterious fog. That's not the what we're seeing here. We're seeing this stuff coming and lasting all day, or it's coming later in the day, which is completely unordinary. It's not normal. Now, here's where I think it gets a little bit interesting, okay? And I'm just going to say that. Let me pull this article up. U.S. seasonal flu cases have skyrocketed to the highest level in at least 15 years. According to the CDC, and you can take it or leave it, do whatever you want to, take it with a grain. I mean, whatever I don't know what your thought is on that. If, people has different opinions on the CDC, but let's just go with the narrative here. They're saying at least 13,000 people have died from the flu since October. So in the past 4 months that we know of, 13,000 people have died from the flu. And they're saying that this is at an all-time level, and it's the highest in 15 years. All right, we got some video on this.
Welcome back. We have a health alert this morning. Flu cases are at their highest levels in 15 years, according to the CDC.
There are flu cases in every state, but the virus is most active in 43 states, including New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. As Dick Brennan reports, this flu season is the hardest hitting one since before the pandemic.
Casey Hoover became very worried when her 6-year-old daughter Emerson got the flu.
She was really sick. I would say the sickest that she's ever been.
All right, did you hear that? She was the sickest she's ever been in her entire life. Guys, I want to encourage you, if you're following us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, if you're on YouTube, even in the comments, I see it all, Telegram. This is the consensus I'm getting from a lot of people that, they get sick. Yeah, you get colds, you get flus, but this is what I'm hearing. People are saying, my child, our family got hit with the flu, whether it's influenza A, influenza B. I don't know how many different strands there is of the influenza virus, but they're saying this was like the worst they've ever seen. Some people are saying they were sicker from this flu, whatever this is. They said they've been sicker from this than they were even back during the pandemic when they got the you-know-what virus. And again, is that the case? Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Have you been hit with this? Are you sick with it now? Has it run through your family? How sick did you get from this? And again, the question is, guys, this is the big elephant in the room. Remember, back in December, there was claims that this mysterious fog was showing up all across the United States. And then all of a sudden you see this elevation, this spike, this explosion of upper respiratory viruses, this flu-like viruses. And now the flu itself, or as that's what we're being told, is the highest it's been in 15 years. Interesting.
In her entire life.
Emerson is better now, but so many are suffering. Look how the cases have skyrocketed in New York. In December, there were 4,600. By February 1st, there were more than 53,000.
Look at that. Let's go back here. Look at that timeline. In December of last year, when the mysterious fog incidences were taking place, and guys, this was in New York too. I know that for a fact. I saw some YouTubers, I saw some people on social media talking about this. So New York was one of those places where this was showing up in the city. Okay. So here you have December 7th, 4,600 cases. Just from December 7th to February 1st, look at that number. It went from 4,607 to 53,337. Wow.
Just how bad is this outbreak?
I've been a physician for about 20 years, and besides the 2009 influenza surge that we saw, this is about the worst I've seen as well.
Symptoms can include sneezing, fever, and cough, but others can be more serious.
We worry more about the shortness of breath that could be associated with influenza, and we worry about dehydration. Those are two common things that should bring you to the emergency department.
The flu has swept the country. There have been more than 24 million cases this season. That's almost 10% more than this time last year. Fewer are dying, but flu-related hospital visits are up almost 25%. And the percentage of children getting the flu vaccine is the lowest in 6 years. The CDC reports this year fewer than half in the U.S. have been vaccinated. So get your vaccination and protect yourself the obvious ways.
Frequent washing your hands, making sure you cover your cough or your sneeze. And if you do feel sick, stay home.
Amen to that, because I can't tell you how many. Look, I can tell you right now in our home, we went through sickness after sickness after sickness. Now, we didn't get the flu, but upper respiratory sicknesses from October to, I'd say, probably the end of December. I mean, it was like every 4 or 5 weeks, boom, 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 boom. And it was from that. It was from kids coming to our home to play with our kids, and they bringing this, and then our kids would give it to them. And it was just a gift that kept on giving, and it just keeps spreading like this. Now, having said that, I found this interesting. I want to pull this up because this surge of flu cases is even shutting down schools in certain states. Listen to this.
Flu infections are on the rise, and the spike is prompting some schools to go remote or shut down altogether. This morning, flu cases are surging in many parts of the country, forcing districts to cancel classes.
Right now, our 9-year-old is at home sick with the flu, type A. It's pretty tough. He has a fever, stuff like that.
Schools in at least 4 states are closing down today to allow students, teachers, and staff time to recover from illnesses.
The attendance hasn't been that great since we noticed, coming back off of winter break. A lot of the staff are getting hit hard with it, and they've been out for a week and a half at a time.
Doctors say this is one of the worst flu seasons they've seen in years, as the CDC reports a second surge in cases.
Again, look at this chart, guys. From October to now, look at this. I mean, it's exploding. So you have to ask yourself. Now, I'm sure they're going to come up with some logical reasons of why this is, but it's amazing how they don't even know. And again, that's why we're talking about this today. So again, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's go back to this, and we'll give you a conclusion.
We're being inundated with patients needing to be hospitalized for influenza. Our emergency rooms are being visited to such a large extent.
The flu cases at high levels in at least 32 states now, along with an increase in cases of COVID, RSV, norovirus, which is being referred to as the winter quademic. While it's February, doctors say it's not too late to get a flu shot.
The way the season is extending at this point, and with the severity, we would recommend everyone who hasn't had a vaccination to go out and try to get protected.
Good advice. The CDC says there have been more than 250,000 hospitalizations from the flu and 11,000 deaths so far this season.
All right, so let's conclude this. Let's go ahead and bring this thing home. This is why I wanted to come on here today, because again, I'd love to hear your thoughts. This is a topic of conversation because it's coming up on social media. It's still all over social media. People are talking about this. People are conversating about this. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Now, keep in mind, guys, this is all happening right now this is all happening in the midst of what looks to be the makings of the next pandemic, which is the bird flu. Now, I've got next week, probably on Thursday night of next week, I've got Michael Snyder coming on, and we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about what are the probabilities that in the next 4 years, that this bird flu is going to become the next pandemic, because the experts are warning about this. The epidemiologists, the disease infection experts, all of them are all warning that, again, the bird flu is only a couple of mutations away. And we've got some new insight on that, with new information. I don't want to cover that today. Again, we're saving all this for Thursday. That's just that's not going to be the only topic we're going to talk about, but I'm definitely I want Michael to give his insight on this, because he keeps up with this stuff and he blogs about it. So we're going to do a lot of in-depth research on that, and we're going to talk about that as a talking point. So again, this is something it's happening. So the sinister side to this, and I pray that there's not, but it does make me concerned about what's going to come. If this thing where's the top out? If it went from December 7th to February, and we saw this explosion from, 4,000 something cases to 53 or 55,000 something, what's this top out going to look like? What's the end game for this? So again, love to hear your thoughts. We appreciate you guys hopping on here today for this Sunday afternoon. And again, you guys can pick up your free app today. Just download it today off of Apple or Android and hit that push notification. That's going to keep you up to par with everything that's going on with our ministry and our website. So again, tomorrow night, guys, we want to remind you, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here live on YouTube. And we want to encourage, if you're listening outside of YouTube, come on over here and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to be a part of our live Monday night prayer sessions. Again, this is live, and it's not just prayer, but it's devotionals. We do a devotional word, and then we go right into to prayer about it. And we typically do about 45 minutes to an hour, and we typically have a good time, and we have a powerful time in the Lord. People get ministered to. We pray for needs. We pray for specifics and different events happening that we need to lift up and pray about. So again, that's tomorrow night, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. And listen, if you guys are blessed by this ministry and you'd like to know more about partnering with us, you can do that 2 different ways. You can give electronically, or you can give by check or money order. And if you wish to do it by check or money order, right there on the screen, you can make it to End Time Headlines, P.O. Box 1391, Monroe, Georgia, 30655. So again, we appreciate you guys hopping on here on Super Bowl Sunday to be a part of this quick update. And we're going to sign off for now. And again, we'll be right back here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Until then, I pray the Lord bless you, may He keep you, and may His countenance shine upon you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to the End Time Headlines podcast. We pray that you've been blessed and equipped by today's message. For more information about how you can help partner with our ministry, please visit endtimeheadlines.org.